ready to make your defense to anyone who demands from you an accounting for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and reverence. That is the advice that Peter gives in his first letter, along with encouragement to face suffering and persecution with goodwill and righteousness. Be prepared to give an accounting for the hope that is in you. The first thing I find interesting about this statement is the assumption here that there is within you a hope that has been made apparent to those around you. Let's go ahead and pause right here at the beginning and imagine what that must look like. A life informed by hope. Now, this hope is not that sort of blind optimism that, frankly, can be kind of annoying. This isn't about pretending to be cheerful no matter the circumstances. There is no call here to look for the silver lining in the face of profound suffering. Now, if you are an optimist, don't take offense. It's great, really, for a lot of reasons. But the hope that Peter is talking about here is not the same thing as optimism. No, the hope that Peter is talking about is the Christian hope. This is a worldview, a particular way of seeing everything that is grounded in the reality of the resurrection. This kind of hope is one that sees with sober eyes the world around us. We are not burying our heads in the sand here. Christian hope faces the facts as they are, both the lows and the highs that make up our mortal existence. But what makes it hopeful is that while seeing things as they truly are, there is the hope that all these things will be finally and fully redeemed. This is a hope that the Creator of everything that was, is, and will be, will, when the time has been made complete, redeem all of it. That no matter how dark things get, we have been given a promise that our God will, in the end, when all is said and done, bring heaven and earth together. That is the Christian hope. That all these broken pieces around us will be taken up into the hands of God and restored. So let's go back and picture this again. What does it look like for your own life to be informed by this hope? How do you make it apparent to others that this hope is within you? What choices would you make in your own life if you trusted in this promise for the redemption of all things? How would you talk about current events? What would you do with your time? How would you spend your money? It's important that we ask ourselves these questions because it is only once that hope has become apparent in your life that the second part of Peter's statement becomes relevant. After all, what do you think will happen when others notice that you are living in a way that speaks to this hope? What happens when they see not a blind optimism, but a joy within you that passes all understanding? Just take stock of the world we live in. There is an epidemic of loneliness in our society. There is a political culture that has abandoned the common good for the sake of division. And there is a sense among many of despair. A sense that things will only ever get worse. Utterly hopeless. So if you are going to stand up to that despair, if you are willing to cultivate this gift of Christian hope, you better, as Peter says, be prepared to give an accounting for it. That's what Paul is doing in Athens in our reading from Acts today. He's been brought by the Athenians to the Areopagus, which is essentially a courtroom, so that he may give this very accounting. What is this hope you carry within you? They ask. And Paul is ready and willing to point them to his source of hope. It certainly isn't easy. Paul often finds himself shamed and beaten and dragged into court. But with gentleness and reverence, he shows them the way. We are all here right now because Paul was willing to give that accounting. With hope, with trust in God's promises, he can face the despair of this world and guide the despairing to hope. That is where it begins and where it ends. In Christian hope. Cultivated in your own life through prayer, and it will become apparent to those around you. Live by it, and you will be prepared to give your own accounting for it. As the spiritual writer Evelyn Underhill put it, the person whose life is colored by prayer, whose loving communion with God comes first, will always win souls. Because they show them in their own life and person the attractiveness of reality, the demand, the transforming power of the spiritual life. They stand as a witness to that which they proclaim. It really is as simple as this. We live in a dry and despairing world, and there are many around us who are thirsty. Thirsty for connection, for meaning, for hope. All that Peter is calling on you to do here is to drink deeply of that living water that is Christ. And then with your strength restored, be ready and willing to guide those other